Here are 5 characteristics of LeBron James that I'm going to compare to great players of yesteryear in the NBA. I'm going to start first with scoring. I'm going to go with a guy that a lot of us really don't pay attention to, and he was one of the greatest scorers in the history of the game, and that's Elgin Baylor. LeBron James reminds me of Elgin Baylor in terms of his size and his scoring and his strength, and how he can manipulate defenders on a consistent basis. Now let's talk about rebounding. George McGinnis. If you remember anything about George McGinnis, he was a round, tough guy at about 6'8", weighed about 240 pounds, ran the floor extremely well, but had finesse to his game, but knew how to go and get rebounds. So when I look at LeBron James, I think of a George McGinnis. Passing. Well, it's obvious. Magic Johnson is the guy that's going to jump out at you. Magic Johnson was the greatest passer for his size that I have ever seen. He could find everyone, and they called it Showtime. And LeBron James is not Showtime, but he has some of the same characteristics of Magic Johnson, wanting to be a facilitator, not too much worried about having a huge game offensively, although as we know he can. Defensively, I think LeBron is one of the best defenders in the league. He reminds me of a Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen could guard anyone in 5 positions. Point guard to center, it did not matter. And so when you look at LeBron James, you take that same mindset. He can guard anyone 1 through 5. And we've seen it over the last 4 or 5 years when he has competed highly in the playoffs. Most notably, he'd go to point guard and try to defend Tony Parker and Derrick Rose over the years. So we know what LeBron can do, and he reminds me so much of one of the greatest defenders in the history of the game, Scottie Pippen. Dominance is the key characteristic of any player because you have to have the dominance to be consistent. And when you look at LeBron James, you look at a Karl Malone. The only difference between Karl Malone and LeBron James, so to speak, is Karl couldn't dribble, okay? But that's basically what LeBron James is. He's a huge Karl Malone that can handle the ball and can play outside. And so when you talk about in terms of dominance, being able to go anywhere on the court, whether it's posting up, whether it's running the break, running people over, jumping over them, having that intimidation that they're going to think twice about taking a charge, I think about Karl Malone, and I'm seeing LeBron James do the same thing.